on, guys? It is Renato here, back with another video, and today I got What If Luffy was sent to Narutoverse Part 2. Hopefully you guys do enjoy this, but without further ado, let's begin this first scenario. So after this battle, Sasori would still spill the beans on Orochimaru and their deal. Of course, Luffy, not knowing who this guy would be, would relay the message to Sakura. Sakura going wide-eyed and would ask Luffy if he's sure, as Luffy would just nonchalantly reply, saying that that's what the pointy-tailed puppet guy would say. So after this was all said and done, Naruto and Kakashi, had the same interaction with Deidara, and everything like that goes to canon. Of course, Deidara would still escape. And in the end, Lady Chio would still sacrifice herself to save Gaara. So that's basically the exact same. And with Luffy being emotional at this because, well, this old lady sacrificed herself to save someone, and that touched Luffy. But we move from that. A few weeks later, or so after the Kazekage retrieval arc, Luffy would have gotten accustomed to his life as a shinobi. Of course, his dream was still to be Pirate King, but he had no way of going back. Well, not that he knows of, at least. So, anyway, in those few weeks, back at Konoha, Luffy would be trained, or would have to train, on the orders, or by the orders of Lady Tsunade. Sakura, who would have told Lady Tsunade about Luffy, would tell her that Luffy has insane abilities and insane strength, as she saw it firsthand. Tsunade, trusting her disciple, would put Luffy against Anbu, like high-level Anbu under her. As, well, this training or sparring would begin with 5 Anbu, as Tsunade would think that this should be enough to test Luffy, but of course, not really. So these 5 Anbu would use the body flicker to hide, and try to use a sneak attack on Luffy. But Luffy isn't a big fan of what they're doing, using these little tactics. He thought it was cheap tricks, because he's, used to facing people head on. And I do apologize if you hear some background noises, it's a bit windy, but yeah, without further ado, we continue. So yeah, he wasn't a big fan of it. So he began yelling, saying, "Face me like a man!" But the Anbu wouldn't fall for his taunts, as they strategized their way to attack. As in a matter of moments, the Anbu, or 2 Anbu, would appear, one in front, one behind. As in the same instance, 2 others would come from the left and the right. As Luffy got into his stance, his eyes would begin to dilate, as he subconsciously activates Observation Haki. Of course, he doesn't know what this is. So as he uses this Haki, he saw that one of them was going to attack from above. So Luffy would activate Gear 2 super fast, as he would yell, "Gum Gum Jet Fireworks!" as he shoot his fist and feet out at blinding speeds in all directions, just like a firework, as his attack would land on all of them, and even the one from above. As Tsunade would be impressed, seeing his battle IQ in action. So were the others that were watching, as Naruto, who would have also been watching them, would congratulate Luffy, saying that was awesome, and giving him a big smile. Luffy would say, "Really? You think so?" as he would chuckle. As Tsunade, watching these two, would get a bright idea, as she would smirk. "Naruto, Luffy," Tsunade would call. "What is it, Granny Tsunade?" Naruto would reply. "Why don't you and Luffy have a sparring match?" As Naruto would raise an eyebrow and look towards Luffy, asking what he thinks about it. Luffy would answer Naruto, saying that, "Sure, let's do it, but don't hold back." As Naruto would give Luffy a grin, saying, "Alright, tomorrow afternoon, we fight it out." As Naruto and Luffy would both agree on this and give each other a handshake. So we now time skip to that afternoon. So it was that afternoon, and there was a big crowd of ninja who came to watch Luffy and Naruto spar. As these two would walk to the middle of the training ground and walk to the middle of the training ground, waiting for the signal to begin. Tsunade, who would be overseeing this match, would yell, "Begin!" or "Hajime!" as when they both heard this, the 2 titans dashed at each other, throwing a punch. As the first few minutes of the fight, I hate to say it, but Luffy was dominating because of his double fruit. Since Naruto cannot inflict damage using his fists, as he doesn't have Haki, and Luffy just using his devil fruit to inflict damage with attacks. So yeah, Naruto would realize that his fists aren't going to do or cause any damage, so he backs off, wiping some blood from his mouth, thinking to himself that the only way to damage him must be through blades. So in an instant, Naruto got back up and dashed towards Luffy, using the multi-shadow clone jutsu to hide his real self, as Luffy would yell, "Gum Gum Gatling!" Using this attack to wipe out half the clones, as Naruto would use this distraction as he would basically go underground and would pop back up and try to slash at Luffy using his kunai. Luffy, who barely saw this coming, barely dodged in time, just leaving a small scratch on his face. He smiled and turned towards Naruto, saying, "Is that all you got?" As Naruto would smirk, answering, "Not even close." As this battle would drag on, Luffy would grow stronger in the sense of his haki. Of course, he doesn't know what this is, so this is like he's using it subconsciously, as I was saying. He was mainly using his observation haki, because Naruto was, well, a lot more precise with his movements and attack, because Naruto had better taijutsu than Luffy. Luffy has no taijutsu skills, he's more of a brawler, so his taijutsu, or Naruto's taijutsu, would technically put Luffy in the back seat for a little bit, but with his observation haki, he'd be able to dodge Naruto's attacks. So yeah, this would kind of give him the edge over Naruto, because Naruto just has, his instincts to rely on, but observation haki is like enhanced, like it's way better than just your instincts. So yeah, we move from this, as Naruto would be forced to adapt his fighting style as well, making him a little bit stronger than he was before. Adding chakra to his limbs to increase attack and defense. So yeah, even so, Luffy would bring out the big guns, Gear 2. This would pressure Naruto, as his speed would overwhelm him. And in desperation, Naruto would access the Kyuubi chakra, or the Kyuubi's chakra, going into the three-tailed cloak, as Tsunade and many others who were there got a bit hesitant to let them continue, since Naruto was losing control. So back into the fight, Naruto and Luffy would be dead even, as both of them would finally unleash their final attacks, as Luffy would decide to bring out his third gear, using Gum Gum Giant Jet Pistol, as Naruto would yell, "Giant Rasengan!" as these two attacks would collide, making a massive explosion, imprinting a crater in the ground. Or would have, if this were other attacks, as Luffy's attack would overpower Naruto's, as they would be stalemating dead even as their attacks would collide, but Luffy's giant jet pistol would overcome Naruto's giant Rasengan, as he'd send Naruto back basically into many trees, sending him back flying through many trees, as Naruto would basically lose consciousness, as Luffy would basically shrink back into his chibi form, because he still hasn't mastered his third gear enough to make him still stay in his normal size. So Luffy would also pass out, but he would be called the winner. So yeah, we time skip a few weeks after this fight, as we now go to the day that Team 7 meets up with Orochimaru. Kakashi will not be present at this time either, because he was still injured from their fight like before, because he overused his Mangekyo Sharingan. But Kakashi's friend from the Anbu, Yamato, would fill in. So yeah, that would still happen like in canon. And they'd still meet up and use Yamato's transformation jutsu to try and trick Orochimaru. But in the end, the fight would break out between the two parties. But that's it for today. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this what if scenario. And I will be continuing this, of course, but without further ado, I'll see you on the next what if scenario. Peace.